And back. Another video. Today what I think we're going to do is, well, I know what we're going to do is tackle the wastegate lines. So last time we did this, I'll just quickly show you here. We just mocked it up just to see where everything goes, get some rough lengths of everything with some silicone. Just, you know, run the lengths, know what we're dealing with. So now what I went and did, what I have gone and done I should say, is buy a bunch of -4 braided line. Just because it sits so close to the wastegate, I don't want it to burn and have a hole and then boost spike and then lose a motor. So went down to a local, well not local, about half an hour away race shop, and I got some fittings, and it's not the most cost-effective way to do this, but it's going to last and it's going to protect everything there from the heat, especially because I've got some leftover heat shielding that I can put over the hoses running out of the wastegate. So, but I don't know if you can see that. Cost just over 300 bucks in race fittings and adapters and line and everything like that. So it's definitely not the most cost effective, when I could have just gone and bought a $20 thing of silicone hose that was the right size and some zip ties and be done with it. But I don't want it sitting there melting, boost spiking, and then all of a sudden I lose a motor because I didn't do this. So you can get away without doing it, but I chose to go this way because I've done dash lines for absolutely everything else in this car. Might as well do it for the boost lines or vacuum lines, whatever you want to call it. So I got 3 meters of this just because I don't know how much I'm actually going to need. Rather have slightly more than not enough. Got a cutting disc because I find these work better to cut up the braid. I do have the proper tool that sort of snips it, but yeah, it sort of crimps everything, and then you end up with a pinched line. It's not perfectly oval, it makes it a little harder. The only thing I don't have is a vise. I do have the vise, I guess, brackets that you put in between to hold the aluminium fittings. These are steel because I didn't have aluminium, but I'll just be careful putting them into my aluminium stuff. And I went with silver because I went with black on everything else. I thought why not go silver. So we've got a 3 straights. Let me sort it out. So there are my, we should have 6 1/8-4 adapters. There's all that. Straight, straight, straight. 90, 90, 90. And some hose to go along with it. So it's 100 series hose. So it's just, as you can see, that's why I don't like using the snippers, because it pinches the line. It's a bit of a pain in the butt. I'd rather just clean out the inside of the line with a bit of air or just a rag or a cotton bud, just because you don't pinch the line then if you cut it with a disc. But yeah, I'll grab my tripod because I haven't got that yet, and then I'll just work on swapping over these barb fittings to these down here, the 1/8 to -4. So they're tapered on that end. I shouldn't need to put any thread tape on them because they're National Pipe Thread NPT, but I'm gonna do it anyway. Don't know if it's the right thing to do. If not, it doesn't really matter. I did it on them. It said to do it somewhere. Can't remember where I saw it, but I put thread tape on it. Might as well put it on these, and then it's probably going to be a little more forgiving when I'm screwing it into aluminium anyway. Bit of a buffer. So grab my tripod, set it up, and then work on pulling out those fittings. Snap a photo of where the lines go so I know what's what, and then I'll sort of run you through how to do all the braid if you haven't done it before. Just make it a little more user-friendly, I guess. It's not always the easiest thing to do, but the 100 series with the rubber inlay, there's no olives, nothing like that, so it makes it nice and easy. So do that, hey? Cool, I'm just gonna grab the tripod. I just want to point out quickly that these AN adapters may look a little funny when you put them in the boost, the Mac valve, the 4-port, whatever you want to call it. Because if I flip these upside down, if I can get this to focus, these fittings are substantially longer. And since they taper out, they're going to sit out a lot further on this. So just for reference, put it on this side. Just rough it in. It sits out quite substantially. Don't worry, that's normal. Obviously it's going to screw it a little further than that, but that's normal because they taper out, they flare. And that's why you don't need to use, I don't have any of my thread tape. I don't know where it's gone. So I'm not going to use it because I don't need it because these are MPT threads. So like I said, national pipe thread, they flare out like a cone going down. So when you screw them in, they'll get tighter and tighter. So don't stress if they look like they're not in far enough, they are. And just be careful, especially if, like me, I'm using steel fittings into an aluminium body, you'll thread it. And then you'll stuff your $100 Mac valve. So just thought I'd point that out while I've got it out and I'm putting these fittings in. Alright, so I thought what I'd do is I'll just quickly show you on a basic level how this stuff works. Now, if you can see in there, just to focus, there is a rubber internal with this stainless steel braid exterior. Now that's just to help it for rub resistance, heat, all sorts of jazz. It can hold, I think this stuff here is up to 250, 300 degrees. So if I throw some of the heat shielding reflective sleeve, which I'll show you in a bit, but we'll get this done first. It shouldn't burn through and whatnot. So ideally, it's really, really easy to use. Your aluminium fittings, like so. Now, basically, that goes to that, and that screws onto the Mac valve. But how you do that is the 100 series, or there's 120, 300, 400, 500 series, all different styles of hose with different internals. Like you've got stuff with a plastic liner and all that jazz. This stuff rubber lined because I don't think I need anything, too crazy. You unscrew the end of the fitting like that. And this essentially goes, I wonder if I can get it to do it now actually. Maybe. It's a bit pinched. Anyways, you slide that over and then it sits down to about there, like so. And then you get this, you push it into the rubber, so it's got that, put the hose down. It's got that barb at the end of it. Now that actually goes on the interior of the rubber hose. And then the rubber hose comes through and then you essentially tighten it up and this end cap pulls the hose onto the end of the fitting and it seals up like that. Nice and simple. It's a lot easier done when I'm not holding it all up in the air. I'll have to do it on the ground. I don't have a workbench yet, so that's pretty much it on a basic level. Some of the tools you want to use, grinder. If you don't have, like, if I hadn't have done my whole fuel system, I wouldn't have bought these, but aluminium AN wrenches or spanners, whatever you want to call them. That one there's a -6. This one here is a -8, and we'll be using the -4. And I've got a shifter for sometimes the in-between size, what you maybe call a -5 or whatever. So these are really handy. They don't actually, because these are all aluminium, if you use a steel spanner or whatnot, it'll round the fitting, damage it, mark it. If they're black, anodized black like what on my fuel line system is, you mark it, it'll be silver. So these things come in handy for not marking the fitting itself or damaging it, and just make it a hell of a lot easier. So they are expensive though, a couple $100, $150 or something for some pretty niche tools, which I'm glad I have. But if you don't have it, you can just put a bit of electrical tape on the inside of the spanner and just be really gentle, and you'll generally be all right. So we'll put the camera back around. Probably I want to put one of the fittings on first, so I think I'll just put one just to see if the 90 will go all right on the intercooler piping. What you want to do is, instead of getting string or hose and whatnot and just running it out and sort of guessing, put one fitting on the whole lot and just sort of run it out, cut it, and then you can put the other fitting on the other end, and then you put another fitting on the whole roll and then run it out, because then you're not cutting it up and getting short. It's the easiest way. When I did my fuel system, we just used the whole roll, and I only made one mistake along the whole thing, so it's pretty fortunate. And even then, it wasn't even that big of a mistake. I think I was probably this short on the other end, but since I removed the surge tank, the mistake's gone, which is wicked. But yeah, we'll go and I'll get the grinder and just lop this off. But before you cut into it, you just want to tape it with some electrical tape, because this outer braid will fray once you cut it. So just tape it, cut where the tape is, and then you should be able to slide the end fitting over, and then yeah, push together, tighten it up. It's good to go. I'll get my grinder set up, shoot the camera at the ground because I don't have a workbench yet. Pavo work on the ground. Spending my money on race fittings, so yeah, we'll just slowly work our way through and do the whole system. The two fittings on the wastegate aren't 1/8 MPT, which is my mistake. I thought they were 1/8 MPT. I think they might be quarter or something. I'm not familiar with the imperial stuff, so I'll have to go and swap out two of my adapter fittings to get something else for the wastegate, but we can at least run the line and get a rough estimate of where it's going to finish, which, you know, that's really easy. I can do that off camera. So we'll get most of it done, and then I can go and swap out these two 1/8 MPT to -4 adapters for something else. Cool, so you can't really see it in there, but you want to push it up to basically just before the threads start. There's like a little line. You'll be able to see it when you're doing it, but inside it's like halfway up the fitting. You want to push this all the way down, sort of twist it and whatnot, until you get to about that line. Sort of see it there. A little further, that's when these come in handy, because this fitting isn't a -6 and it's not a -4, it's a halfway in between, which is a pain in the butt. So we're pretty much there. Now you get wherever I put the fitting. And you get this end, a little bit of lubricant on this, never hurt, and then you just pretty much, this is where a vise comes in real handy. You just grab that, if I can get it on doing this, standing up, like so. A little bit of oil on the end of that. Mine shouldn't need it, but and then you just push and twist, and it'll eventually grab once it actually goes inside that hose in the middle. So I'm going to stuff around with this on the ground. It's a bit of a pain doing it standing up, and then I'll show you once it's all pushed in and threaded. Once you get it started, once you thread it, you want to thread it all the way up until the base, and I'll show you once I've got it. Cool. You can yank on it. Coming off. And as you can see, no marks on it. So that's basically the gist of it. I'll do a bit of a time lapse and I'll yeah, try and smash out the rest of these, because it is currently 8:30 on a Tuesday night and I've got work tomorrow, so I want to get this video out, I want to finish this, so I'm just going to time lapse and just sort of smash through the rest of this with a bit of music. So unfortunately, I've cut my fingers up pretty bad holding onto the fittings and twisting them in. So I'm going to go into work tomorrow to finish off the rest of the fittings, just put it in the vise at work and just lean on it and push it in. It's a lot harder to do on the ground. If you've got two people, one person can hold the hose, one person can push the fitting, makes it life easier. Maybe wear some gloves because aluminium is bloody sharp. But I'll take the camera out of the tripod and I'll just show you the one I managed to get done. The other ones, I need to go get the other fitting anyway. So this is more or less just wanted to show you how to put A and line together. The rest of it, it's pretty straightforward. I don't really need to show the rest of it. So as long as you got the grips on, taping up the hose, make sure the frayed end doesn't come out, pushing that first coupler over, pushing it down to that line inside the coupler so that when you slide the second piece in, it's not gonna pull the fitting back out and push it off the hose. You got to get that first coupler quite a fair way down. And you'll know what I mean if you go to do it and you know, it's not far enough on and you start to wind it in, it's actually going to push the hose at the end. It's got to get far enough where it clamps onto it and it grabs a hold. So yeah, that was more or less all I wanted to do tonight, just to show you how to put A and line together. This works on dash 3, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. It's all the same thing, especially with only 100 series hose. There's other series of hoses which I think are 120 or 200, 300, etc. that are either plastic lined or require olives. It's essentially the same thing, just an olive goes in between. You know, this is the basic of the basic for braided line. I didn't need to do this, I like it, so thought I had to do it. But yeah, I'll probably just show you next time I'll do a video of it all together. Just because I don't have the vise and I don't feel like cutting up my hands any more than I already have. So that's pretty much it for tonight. Might not be the most exciting thing, but hopefully you learn a thing or two. Also, thank you to everybody that's watching the Holden Sandman video. The Ute, it's actually doing really well. In comparison to my last two videos, I think I uploaded it 6 days ago. I've got 260 views on it, which is unreal, considering the video after that got 11 and the one after that got 8. So I want to get out and shoot more car stuff like that and just sort of document the process of this as I go in between. So I'm going out to Queensland Raceway for Drive of the Night, or Cruise the Night I think it's called, on the 30th with my mate James. He's got a Mark 1 streetcar, Mark 1 Escort in black with the 1.6 motor in it, I think. It's a wicked little car, makes 100 horsepower, but it's cool. I'll shoot some video of that and shoot other cars out there, so that'll be a good night. I think that's this Sunday, one of those nights anyway, so that'll be fun. That'll be the next one if I don't do anything during the week. But maybe I want to take my wheels down to a mate, and these ones here that I've got stacked up, and get the tyres taken off, because everyone that I go to see wants to charge me 150 bucks to take the tyres off, and that's just take the tyres off. They're going to charge me a 1 hour minimum. You know, I could understand if it was 10 bucks a tyre, maybe that's pretty much all I'd pay just to take them off. I don't want to pay 150 bucks, so go and utilise a friend's tyre machine and just pull them off. And then we can start the rebuild on those. That'll be the next big project, I think, while we wait for the ECU, which still hasn't come in. I'll call them again tomorrow and see where it's at. But anyways, I'm rambling. That's pretty much it for tonight. Thank you again for everyone that's watched that Holden video, and yeah, this is fun. I'm gonna keep doing this until I get bored. Probably won't. I like cars and I like filming, so Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.